everyone, and welcome to the Circular Summit. For those of you who are joining us just now, my name is Kelsie Stewart. I am the Chief Community Officer at FabCafe, and I am joining you today from Tokyo, Japan. The session beginning now is our second of a four-part series for the Circular Summit, hosted by FabCafe and Loftwork. The aim of the Circular Summit is to create a consortium for learning and includes themed talks, open feedback sessions, and rich discussions among internationally and professionally diverse game changers in the circular economy. Our second session is focusing on the topic of materials for a circular economy for materials. At the center of much discussion around the circular economy is the challenge of materials. The context of this conversation is both deep and wide. Biomaterials, recycled materials, the transparency of the materials supply chain, materials in the cradle-to-cradle context. Today, we will be asking questions such as, what are the strongest influences which are pushing circular materials to become the norm rather than the exception? Or to ask another way, what are the roadblocks keeping circular materials from becoming the norm? In what ways can a nature-centered design influence and support the expansion and adoption of circular materials? Our panel will be held in 4 parts. First, we will hear an introduction keynote from 2 of the Circular Awards judges. Following a 5-minute break, we will hear a 5-minute pitch from several of the winners of the Circular Awards, telling us about their award-winning work. After hearing from both the judges and the winners, we will have a 25-minute open feedback session where judges and winners can freely comment and discuss each other's work. The 4th and final panel will be a guided crosstalk on the topic of today's session, materials for a circular economy and a circular economy for materials. We warmly welcome viewers on YouTube to engage on the YouTube chat. So the judges today that will be joining us include Ms. Laura Cantera, who is a bioelectronic artist and researcher and professor at UNITREF University. Second, we have Anita DeWitt, who is the founder of ReBlend. And today joining us from Loftwork Kyoto is Junya Iida, who is a creative director at Loftwork Kyoto. Now, without further ado, I would like to go ahead and begin our circular judge keynotes. Anna, are you here with us today?
Yes.
Wonderful. You can begin your video and your presentation whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you to all the circular team. It is a pleasure to be here in this award. I would like to introduce myself. I am part of the National University of 3 de Febrero, that is a very particular university that is working with circular economy. And I am foundress of Bioma and Mycocrea, which are labs that work with biomaterial and with mycomaterial and with growth design. In this presentation, I would like to introduce some projects that I worked with and the different projects that I chose for this award and the main aspect that I would like to go deeper. Well, first, to start with, I would like to, the main raw material that we are using in the project that I will tell you today is the yerba mate waste. That is a very interesting waste because we have lots of yerba waste each year. We are all the time drinking this drink, the mate. It's a very interesting material because it is an ancestral materiality and it's like joint generations. So it tells a story into the new material that is very particular one. So with this use raw material, we are creating different kind of leathers. But as I am an artist, and we work especially in working with communities and working with territories. I am very interested in work with non-human beings and how the others can co-create with us in these processes of biomaterials. We have done different types of it, And the most interesting project for me is, which is called Mate Shoes, that we work with some vulnerable communities, teaching how to make this material with their waste and how to resignify into different kind of shoes. This sandal is a type of the shoes we are teaching in these communities in order to make maybe a micro enterprise in these particular places where we are working with. These are other products that we are making in these processes. We are making different kind of lamps, pendants, and other texture with digital fabrication. And as you can see, we are making t-shirts too, and we are working with art and with electronic art and robotics. We have developed different kind of prototyping about circuit board that we are working with, and we are changing the way of prototyping in plastic. So in this case, we are using biomaterials as the base in order to ensemble this electronic component. And it's very interesting because once you have used the circuit, you can melt with hot water, and you can take the component outside the circuit and use it again. And for us, it is a very useful develop, because we use a lot what we call the Arduino board, that is an international way of prototyping in electronic art and in other fields. And in this case, we are working with this soft and flexible material, which allow to have different uses and to avoid using plastic in this, as it is the conventional way of using. In this case, we work with robotic art too, making some robot with this kind of biomaterial too. In this case, it is a production made of yerba mate biomaterial, another which we are working with that is made with human hair. That is a very good raw material because it is discarded in large quantities, and also it's very resistant because of the keratin that have the hair. So with this kind of material, we are making, we are working in what we call the colonial way of working robotics, in which we work with this circular economy applied to the technology that is, for me, it's a good advantage because the e-waste is the most complicated and polluting waste in these cases. This is a project that we made last year with the pandemic. It was a device for a mask for COVID-19 pandemic. We worked with a tango dancer because they had the problem that the cultural field had the problem that they couldn't work anymore with the pandemic, and we have lots of restrictions last year, and they couldn't work, and they had the problem that they couldn't do anything to be able to recover the right of working. In this case, with the university, we designed this kind of mask that you can see here that is made with a part of recycled plastic of the bottle caps. And then we use this mate bioplastic to cover this structure. And also we use a filter made with nanoparticles of silver who allow to stop the virus to open to the mask. It was very important, the size of this structure. As you can see, it's very big in relation to the face, because when they dance, they move a lot and they need air to breathe during the dance. So it was a solution. It was a way they could recover the show, and they were very important to be able to make a new protocol in the new normality that we are living. And well, today, nowadays, they are using these masks because we had to use the mask in these times. One of the other research of mycocrea and of bioma is the ground design. We are working with this project that is called GeoIFAS, that we grow with mushroom, with Ganoderma, that is a mushroom that is very used in medical projects too. And in this case, we make panels because it is a very interesting material, because it is waterproof, it's fire resistant, it's acoustic, and it is insulation. And in this case, we make this kind of panel that can be combined in different positions in order to create different patterns. And it can be applied to walls in order to stop sound, for example, and they are totally compostable. That is a big thing for thinking material, because we had to think in all the stages of the production chain. And in this case, once you want to discard the product, you only have to put into the soil and wait for 1 week or maybe less according to the size of the product, and it can help to other plants to grow. So this is a very interesting material, and lots of people around the world is trying to use it because it can replace lots of plastic things, for example, the packaging. For that reason, we are working with packaging for bottles in order to sell wine. We have lots of places where there are production of wine too, local wine. And we have done other projects with project of pots, lamps, and other material like mushroom leather too. And also, as I am an artist too, I work with this kind of technology with mushroom, with artwork. These are 2 examples of the kind of artwork that I made, in which the mushroom is alive, and they use as substrate yerba mate waste too, or maybe it can use the agriculture waste that is very easy to get here in the Buenos Aires area. This is one of the last projects that I would like to show you. It was during the pandemic too, when the pandemic started and the hospital started to let the people outside because they haven't any bed to put the sick people. The government opened different shelves in all the country, but they haven't a bed to put the sick people. In this case, with the university, we designed these cardboard beds that were made with recycled paper, and we decided to make this kind of bed with a lamp, which was made with bioplastic, with the mate discarded too. So it had a system that worked with dynamo energy too, to think that they had to cover a need, a temporary need. And we thought in that moment that it had to be useful for a very short time. So in this case, we designed this bed, we designed a lot of them, we produced lots of them, and then they used it in the hospital, this temporary hospital that were very, very big share really for that reason, we decided to put this part to have the opportunity to have an intimate area in this bed, and it has a pencil that they can draw it, and they also had a QR code to access to different artistic production that were in a web page into with different kind of pieces of art. In this case, this is the last project. It is a mixture of art and design, because we make with algae, with seaweed and menstrual blood. It is an activist and feminist project in which we made a call, an open call to learn how this technology can be made. And we invite to different women in all the country to make this thread that some of them are made with eggshells and others with menstrual blood and with algae, as I told you. And we invite them to knit these pieces. And it is a very resistant thread that can be used for different kind of design. And in this case, we are very interested in thinking about our residues, our waste, our body waste. And to finish, I would like to close with this phrase of Carol Collett, that design has the power to change the world, because in this award, I think during the process of selection that all the designers, all the creators has the responsibility, a social responsibility to create for changes the everyday life. And we need to change the way we see the materials, because we have to think that each material has different stories, and each material has emotional triggers that we have to consider to communicate our project. This is my winners. Luckily, for me it was an amazing process, and to choose this winner, I consider every stage of circular economy paradigm. And for that reason, for me, it's very important not only to take over the raw material, but to consider how it can be disposal once it is used. Well, thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Anna, for your very inspiring presentation. There's so many points of your presentation which were very poignant to me. In particular, you were mentioning in your second to last project about the materials for a temporary need. And I recall reading in the news not so long ago that as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, that some 8 million tons of plastic waste was produced as one of the unfortunate results of that, natural disaster. And yeah, whenever you mention that designers have the power to change the world, this kind of mindset, I really hope we can install into more and more people so that they can start thinking about these potential future issues the very first step of the design process. But thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So next, I would like to warmly welcome Ms. Anita DeWitt, the founder of ReBlend. Anita, are you here with us today?
Yes, I'm there.
Hello, welcome, welcome. You're joining us from Amsterdam, is that correct?
That's correct, totally correct.
Nice, from Argentina to Amsterdam.
Anita DeWitt, like as you said, I'm Dutch, I'm based in Amsterdam. I'm the founder of ReBlend, and I started studying economics, business economics in Amsterdam, and I've worked 15 years as a consultant in strategy business. And along this road of doing all kinds of projects about business process management or creating better business, eventually sustainable business development, I realized that I became irritated about the fact that companies all talk about sustainable strategies, but it's kept by talking. And everyone, after having a very enthusiastic reaction to an advisory report, people would still continue doing what I did. And so at that time, I realized that if I want to make, if I want to create change, if I want to create more impact, I need to start creating projects myself. And that's the reason why I started ReBlend in 2013. And I started ReBlend as a kind of initiative to create solutions that use the huge amount of post-consumer textile waste in the Netherlands that usually goes to incineration, and use them to create new textile solutions. So what does ReBlend actually do? We have built a network including all kind of companies, designers, thinkers, and the network includes all parts of a supply chain, production chain. So in collaboration with people from our network, we can build all kinds of projects. And we started with doing two projects calling ReBlend Circular Textiles and ReDenim. In fact, we started with the circular textiles part. We started with the thought, what if we use Dutch post-consumer textiles as the new source for new virgin materials? Managed to make a new yarn which consists 70% post-consumer textiles and 30% recycled polyester from PET bottles. And with this new fiber combination, we managed to make new yarn in collaboration with a Spanish spinning company. And with the yarn, we made new upholstery fabrics in collaboration with a Dutch upholstery design company. And what we as ReBlend do is we kind of bring everyone together to create new production chains. In that sense, we replace regular products, in this case upholstery fabric, by circular upholstery fabric to create a really concrete step into the circular world. And we've also done this for denim with the thought that in the Netherlands, people have, on average, people have 7 denims in their closet. And so it's for telling the story of circular textiles, denim is a very inspiring product. And with that in mind, we started collaborating with an Italian denim weaver, and we made a yarn consisting of 70% Dutch post-consumer materials, and also as a first step with recycled polyester. And as a next step for the denim, we are researching the possibilities to replace the polyester with another more natural material like Refibra from Lansing, or a cellulose-based. And then 2 other projects that we started last year, which is really, for me, it was really inspiring in the COVID time to start collaborating with healthcare companies and the Amsterdam Economic Board to find a solution for the disposable polyester garments that are used in hospitals. We found in Amsterdam, we found ourselves in, I think, spring 2020 in a situation that there were not enough protective garments. So we made, in the beginning, we made kind of garments from stock of shirts. And then we realized that this is just a temporary solution. So now we're building a new system in which we replace the disposable polyester garments by circular, reusable, and way more comfortable cotton garments that have, and they, of course, they need to have the same water repellency figures as the regular polyester garments would have. And in this sense, part of the big part of the project is about how to create a viable business model, because of course, polyester garments that are bought in China, thrown away after one time of use, are quite, how do you say, they used to be really cheap. Now they're a bit less cheap, but they're still cheap, of course, and building a new product which will be washed over 70 to 80 times takes another way of thinking the business model. And it's a really, for me, it's a really inspiring project to work together with a lot of different parties to get everything in the right spot. Then another project we're doing is to build a new circular textiles economy in the north of the Netherlands. This is a part of the Netherlands which had serious damage from the gas production in the Netherlands we've done quite some period. So the move into circular textiles economy is the way to create new jobs for people and to create a positive feeling about bringing back textiles economy to the Netherlands. And currently we are exploring what's already there, what companies do we already have, and to connect them to, of course, the network of ReBlend, but also to networks of other companies in Western Europe, and to create new textile production. This is about the project we're doing. Then if I think about circularity, then in my belief, it's all about playing a different game. And when I looked at all the huge amount of the applications for the challenge, which is really interesting to read them, I think about what is including all the elements you need to actually build a new system and to start playing a different game. So looking at the applications, I thought about what is going to make impact, what is solving a problem. And in my belief, in my, how do you say, in my life, textiles are part of the things I do. And I really think textiles are part of our identity. But in current days, you can't, in a way, you cannot be happy with current textiles. So building a new chain for circular textiles can be a big enabler on our road to a circular world and circular, more sustainable world. Then the second aspect I thought about is what brings new perspectives, new ideas, new routines, new processes. And the third is you need to, building a new system, you need to make bridges, you need to create connections and build new change. So that are the three ways I have looked at all the different applications and which are the basis for my choices. So why I chose these 5 projects. First of all, Amphitex. In my belief, the water repellency finishes that are used all along several products we are so familiar with. And I mean, of course, the hiking garments is one of the projects, but there are several other products that also use fluorocarbon to make materials water repellent. Also, in fact, also my earlier mentioned healthcare project also uses materials that need to be water repellent, responsible use of the materials. Then the second, the consumer cotton project. And that the most reason for that is that I think cotton is our most loved fabric, but we need to find new ways of already there cotton, keeping it in the chain and not having to produce so much new cotton every year. Third project, Recrow, and that's about denim, which I am a big fan of, and I think it makes it very concrete how you can turn a material into an enabler for a better world. Fourth, the diaper cycle, and I think that project illustrates in an awesome way that waste is a concept from the old world. We need to think about resources. And then my 5th choice is the clothing circulation system centered on the medical field. And that is showing that you need to build connections between different domains to create new perspectives. And this was my presentation. I hope I'm not being too fast. I'm available for questions.
That was perfect. Thank you so much, Anita, for your presentation. Much appreciated. Yes, I thought that your point about functionality and the water repellency was very interesting, and I look forward to hearing from June later on more about this.
Yeah.
also talking about kind of this financial competitiveness as well. So how to combat this kind of, uphill, challenge that we have to make something like the work that you're doing with ReBlend with the circularity yarn competitive enough against the, new polyester, which is being turned out at an exceeding rate for an exceedingly low price. This is, I think, a huge challenge for us, and something I look forward to discussing more in the feedback session and crosstalk. Great. Thank you so much for your presentation. Great. So from now, I would like to take a 5-minute break. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to contact us, maybe ask a question, make a comment, give us some feedback, please feel free to scan the QR code in the screen and fill out the survey to let us know what you think. From now, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and I look forward to continuing the discussion next with the pitches from our winners, as well as the feedback session from the judges, and followed by the crosstalk with Junya Iida. Thank you very much, and please enjoy your break. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second session of our Circular Summit. My name is Kelsie Stewart. It's my great pleasure to continue with our presentations for today. The next section of our panel is going to be the pitches from 3 of our Circular Award winners. First, we have Dr. Pao, who is a lecturer at the Industrial Technology Department at the Faculty of Science and Technology in Chiang Mai, Rajabat University. His award-winning work is entitled Green Road, Upcycling Plastic Waste to Pave Roads. Dr. Pao, are you with us now?
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Are you signing in from Chiang Mai today?
Yeah, today is Lakatong Festival in Chiang Mai. Make a lot of wet into the river. I think I don't like this.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, welcome and thank you for joining us today. You can begin your presentation when you're ready.
Okay. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much to give me an opportunity to present my work to you today. The title of my work is I would like to talking about upcycling plastic waste to paving road. Okay, I would like to introduce by myself. I'm the first person of Southeast Asia who make plastic. Who make the roads from plastic bag. Okay. This road is made from plastic bag. I use 5 million of plastic bag to build it in national park south of Thailand, approximately 500 bags per square meter. Yes, and Green Road have 30% increase stability value when you put the plastic bag into the bitumen. I compare with conventional roads, and we reduce the cost of construction, cost of maintenance, 10%. 10% reduce. We compare with conventional roads too. Yeah. Okay. This is a Green Road model I use is in Thailand, and I want to use maybe in Japan or in the world too. Is Green Road is a volunteer group, and now we want to change to social enterprise. Green Road have a campaign public to reduce plastic reuse and classify the plastic bag from people in Thailand, and we ask to donation for a plastic product from people of Thailand too. And what do we do? And we put the plastic bag to product upcycling material. For example, brick, paving block, road, deck, chair, bench, and to donate everything in green material or green product to the temple, to national park, to school and public area. The aim of Green Road for improve the people quality of life, touch on eco and friendly lifestyle. Yeah. Next picture. I don't like this picture, I don't like the picture. Now plastic waste make a big problem in the world, and we use a lot of plastic product. We use approximately 300 million tons of plastic bag of plastic product in the world. What that mean? It means we have plastic waste. Plastic waste is increased every year. 40% increase every year. And now we need a different effective way to manage plastic waste. If we don't have, we have 8 million tons of plastic bag down into the ocean and end up in the ocean. Yeah. Okay, I would to show you this picture. This picture is in Thailand. We found a young whale die with a plastic bag in a stomach. 85 plastic bag in stomach, approximately 8 kilogram. It's very sad, I think. Okay. Now we have a traditional of solving the problem. We have two ways, but nobody likes the two methods. First is burning, and second is landfill. Nobody likes the both method. Burning is make the air pollution, CO2, make global warming. And landfill look like a little bit a good way, but you know, you can leave, allow the landfill. You can leave, and you can do is agriculture at all. So now we need different method to recycle plastic bag. Okay, everybody, I want to show you eco and friendly way to do it. Really easy and simple. You know, when you mix the plastic bag in the bitumen with aggregate, hot aggregate, it can transform to authentic concrete road. Why we can do, why a green road can do? Because the plastic bag and bitumen, it comes from the same source. There are petroleum products too. They can use add on and repeat it like a corn and powder. You know, when we make the plastic bag, maybe approximately 10% to 20% into the bitumen, we was found the stability value is increased than a conventional load and eco and friendly load too. Yes. 9 years ago, we research and developing continues. We was found we have a different way to do it. Okay, we reduce. We don't use bitumen to do it. We mix. We use only plastic bag mixed with another material, or we use plastic bag bonding with another material, like this picture. This picture is show it. We don't have cement and glue. Only 100% of plastic bag or plastic product. This is a colorful paving box. You know, we make a straw with plastic bag and we call it aluminum foil packaging or laminate packaging. Yeah, we mix all together and can transform to a colorful box, and we use 100% of aluminum foil or laminate packaging to mix all together and can be transformed to a bench, to a paving box, and lovely cats box. So everything we can do with plastic bag. Okay, this picture we make sure your plastic is not end up to the ocean, is not end up to the landfill or burning, it's not end up inside the stomach well, you know, because we use the plastic bag make upcycling material for donate in the public area, for example, school, public park or national park or the temple. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I was really impressed to see that the idea is continuing to evolve. I had not yet seen the images of the colorful version of your product. It looks very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. And welcome.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you very much. So next, I would like to warmly invite Wang, who is the Chief Executive Officer at REnato Lab, who is the creator of the award-winning work called REstone. Wang, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, welcome. You may begin your presentation when you're ready.
Okay. Thank you for having me today. And I will show you our project of REstone. I think we all, I think we all know e-waste is one of the major waste issue today. You have remember 15 years ago, a Nokia cell phone could be used for more than 5 years. Today, iPhone can last probably only 3 years. Not only cell phones have shortened lifespan, I think electric and electronic equipment have short lifespan than expected. As a result, more and more e-waste has been generated. According to the research from the United Nations University, the world have thrown out more than 53.6 million tons of e-waste in 2019. That is to say, we really need to reduce our consumption. Although it is not our topic today, at the same time, we need to learn to use this we call misplaced resource and turn into the new material. In each electronic and electronic equipment, we have PC board in it. Generally speaking, that's about 14 of the variable materials, including gold and copper in the PCB. With certain equipment, technology, and variable material could be recycled probably. The rest, about 86% of is waste, that is meant to be incinerated. REnato lab then start to take this 86% of material to do design work. Since 2014, we have been working with collector, recycler, designer, and manufacturer to turn waste PCB into artificial stone. We name it REstone. The core spirit of circular economy is to decouple economic growth from resource consumption. So we establish a virtuous cycle to encourage recycling, preserve natural resources by cutting down the need for virgin material and increasing the use of recycling ones. The first time we have created of it appliance and the wall tile along with other items, just like that. In 2017, we have developed the second generation of REstone. We want to explore more possibility of this material. We aim is to create a granite-like material that requires no dyeing. In second generation, we have developed 5 different colors of REstone. And this year, just few weeks ago, we launched the third generation of REstone. This time, REstone has become a new type of carbon reducing plastic wood. Compared with the regular wood board material, it have high heat and water resistance and not easy to deform or to roll, and antibacterial. it has been used in a construction project and will be able to officially share the news with everyone in a couple of the month. Turning waste into the part of construction means give the second chance to have another 16 years product lifespan. It's not easy, but we believe that it is worth make effort. And thank you, Tai. This is our project, and hope it will help you know more about the REstone, the material of construction. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Something that I've been very impressed by through the Circular Awards is the number of incredibly high quality entries that are coming in from Taiwan. REstone is definitely one of the most elegant pieces that I've seen coming in from this circular economy context, especially for materials. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Great. The next and last winner that I would like to warmly welcome to the stage is June Kamei. June is the CEO and founder of Amphibio and the creator of Amphitex, 100 recyclable and PFC-free, waterproof, breathable textile for the outdoor and sportswear industry. June, are you with us? Hello.
Hello. So hello, I'm Jun Kamei. I am the CEO and founder of Amphibio. And today I'd like to present Amphitex, which is 100% and recyclable outdoor textile. So I am an outdoor enthusiast, as you can probably guess. That's the reason why I'm doing this. I like to go outside to do hiking, cycling, sometimes swimming in oceans. For the main activity that I mentioned, especially hiking and cycling, a waterproof and breathable garment is quite essential to experience the beauty of nature. It protects you from the rain, it protects you from the wind and the snow. And during the lockdown days of the COVID pandemic, I think many of us rediscovered kind of like the beauty of nature. There wasn't manything that we could do during the day of the lockdown, so many people kind of reconnected with nature. And I'm pretty sure that, I mean, including me, we kind of rediscovered kind of beauty of being connected to nature. And, you know, outdoor clothing are the type of garment that allow us to do that. And you've kind of seen also, you know, that popularity of doing something outdoor, seeing in numbers, where the market for those waterproof and breathable items has kept growing. So it's, from my memory, if it is correct, it's like record high right now. So you're seeing that those activity are very, very popular right now. But one of the kind of dark secret that are not really mentioned about these great performance textile and then garment is that every outdoor gear that you have in your closet are unfortunately destined to go to either the landfill or to be incinerated. And it's because they're designed in such a way that they're not recyclable. And you have equivalent of 300 million square meters of textile being wasted every year. So if you put that textile on top of Hyde Park, which is a really big park in London, that will be enough to cover it 200 times. Or it would cover like most of London actually. So you can see, you know, everywhere, yeah, we're producing this amount of waste. And the irony is it's from outdoor gears that actually allow us to connect with nature, but it's like really polluting. There's another kind of, you know, dark secret, which is that every water repellent or waterproof garment these days are using harmful chemical, which are called PFC, or PTFE. Just to kind of explain a bit more, those are materials that contain fluorine, and they're not the best thing on Earth because they don't break down in nature and they accumulate in bioorganism. And recent research showed that they're quite hazardous to our health. So that's again another big issue. And you can kind of see the life cycle of how, you know, those different harmful chemical or the waste coming from the textile are born during the life of a garment. And what we're trying to do at Amphibio is to stop both the chemical pollution, but also to make a waterproof visible garment, which is 100% recyclable, so that the material that we put into these outdoor garment can be circular and then become the raw material to make, you know, the fiber or the different component for this textile again. And the unique thing about Amphitex and also the company Amphibio is that we're able to do that without using any toxic chemicals or toxic membrane. And we're still able to keep the same performance level as some of the products that you see already on the markets, which are using either PFC coating or those other PTFE membranes, and that are not recyclable. And yes, we've been working a lot on the different ways to make the garment, and we have very unique technology to create a woven textile which is water repellent without using any PFC coating or actually like any coating at all. So the fabric itself is so water repellent that we just don't need to coat it. For those who are not familiar about how water repellent outdoor wear and sportswear are made, they are mostly made from polyester kind of fiber being woven on the first layer, and then they're coated with a water repellent coating. And also we have the technology to make a porous, breathable, waterproof membrane, which really often is laminated on the back of a woven first layer fabric to make everything waterproof. And we do have the technology to kind of make this, again, without using any harmful chemical, but then with a performance that is similar to existing products right now in the market. And we are currently developing a few other technology which would allow us to minimize the amount of adhesive that are used during the lamination, so that it's so much easier to recycle once the textile is reaching its end of life. So that is, yes, roughly about our innovation here at what we're doing. And if you have any interest in the textile itself or in the kind of each of the components, or if you're curious to hear about the detail of some of our technology, feel free to reach out to me. So I'm Junya, and then that's the contact for myself. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, June, for your presentation. Yes, I was listening to you talk about being inspired by nature to create this kind of a weatherproof fabric and weatherproof piece of fashion, and thought to myself that it's quite ironic that people who would normally probably be quite eco-conscious or care deeply about nature would be the ones that are buying these pieces of fashion that are antithetical to what they believe in or what they enjoy. So yeah, I appreciate the vision that you have put into this piece. Great. So now I would like to go into the next part of our panel, which is the open feedback session. At this time, I'd like to invite all of the judges and all of the winners to join us. So please feel free to turn on your camera. You can also turn on your microphone as well if you'd like. I'll give a couple moments for everybody to join us. Hi, welcome back. Welcome back. Wonderful. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So in this session, what I would like is to first hear from the judges, Anna and from Anita, to give your feedback to the winners today. I know that some of the winners are winners that you yourself have chosen for the awards, and others are not. But if you like, you can please give some free feedback to them through questions or comments. Maybe we can start with Anna. Anna, what would you like to ask or give feedback to with today's winners?
Okay, well, nice to meet you. I would like to talk first of all with Paul, the project of Green Road. Really, for me, the project is amazing. It's a very interesting proposal. One of the things that I like more is that you combine not only a solution for the quantity of plastic, but also you have a very interesting part that is the educational one. For me, it's very important because you are thinking in future in this way. I would like to ask you, because you talk a lot about the process and it's very clear, the process in the video and well, in the slide you present. But I would like to ask you if you have studied how this plastic asphalt develops over time. And also, well, how long does it last? And what happens when the road breaks? If you have thought about that, and it can be recycled after the use.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. You mean the long line of the load of green load? Yes.
Yes.
I'm start now. My first load is built in Thailand is 9 years ago. 9 years ago, but now it can use it. Normally it's not break down. No microplastic. No everything go on from this my load, and the skin of load is can use it normally. It's no effect for everything. No effect for environment. Yes.
But have you measured the carbon emission?
Oh, measure with government. Measure with standard of government, right? Yeah. Okay. That my work, you know, is I must compare with standard of highway engineering standard, and I think compare with Thailand Department of Highway Engineering, and you know the load is stability is higher 20%, but now I make it stability is higher 3 times 300%, you know, and sometimes the government say, okay, your load is well, but we need to talking about what do we do next for prototype load in Thailand, because first, not all of Thailand.
Well, I would like to ask to Wang some question, and later I would like to share a final question for both. Let me see that I have some key points of your project. The project for me is amazing, really. Thank you for sharing. It's very necessary to think what to do with this e-waste that is so complicated to recycle. I have a question, because in all the proposal you expose that it is a very let me think. You talk about the difference with the incineration methodology, but however you never explain the process you make in order to recycle this kind of PVC. Can you explain in a short description which are the process you are using to recycle?
First, we just collect all of the PC board, and we cooperate with the recycler. One of a recycler in Taoyuan, in the north of Taiwan. and they use the shredder machine to make it into the powder. And the second process, we use AD current and magnet to separate the iron and the copper. And then we collection the rest of the PC board. Most of them is glass fiber, tiny glass fiber. And we mix with plastic we recycle from the e-waste, and to compress this into a plastic wood board. This is the whole process.
Okay. I think that to enrich your project, it's necessary to explain this, because if not, it's like a big question. When I read the project, I had to look for in Google in order to know how the process was. It would be very interesting to communicate your idea, of course. And something that I would like to say to both is that the raw material that you are choosing, plastic and the PVC, are very political ones. So for me, when you make the narrative, when you make the communication of the project, you have to consider that you are working with the stories, yes? So for me, it's very important you work a bit more with the way you take these stories of the material and put it in your new project in order to resignify them. As I told in my presentation, I think that the material are emotional triggers. So the way you take it will enrich your project in order to tell another story. I want to ask you one, in which scale, how big your business, how many, or if you have a quantity, a goal in the future about the quantity of PCB that you could recycle.
Okay, I got it. In this process, we just think we can use all of this waste. No, maybe it's this kind of material. So right now, according with our third generation, we just had a construction cooperate with a construction company. So I think the quantity of the material that we can use, maybe 20,000 tons of this in PCB. But I think if we focus on the plastic, because Taiwan has very good recycling technology in plastic. So about the PET bottle, we can use this kind of material into textile, and we use ABS or PC to make the IT equipment, the cover of IT equipment. So we just use the rest of someone cannot use the plastic to combine with the PCB powder. So maybe we can use just equal to the PCB powder, almost 20,000 tons of this kind of material combined with the plastic waste, and to make this kind of products.
Okay, and the last question, how long the material lasts? Have you tested?
the lifespan of our product, I think maybe have more than 30 years. So if our company or this construction had be destroyed, we can take it back and build a new one to our next client. So we have designed this kind of material to be reusable.
Great, thank you.
Nice.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Anna, for your questions. That was very interesting. Anita, would you like to address some of the winners with your questions or feedback?
Yeah. Basically, I have one question to all of the three. And in my belief, companies are mostly, I mean, the economic perspective is dominant for companies. So in making decisions, most of the times, the economic business case is a kind of a very important thing. So I'm interested to hear if you did a kind of business case, including ecological costs and the monetary value of this, of the monetary value of the ecological costs, and maybe social costs, social benefits.
Can you go first?
Yes, thank you.
So, I mean, we did first of all like the costing for the textile, and usually for our type of performance textile, if you get somewhere between 8 to 20 pounds per square meter, it's a good range. And based on the assessment on the manufacturability using existing infrastructure, we estimate that you can manufacture at somewhere around £5 per square meter, and then therefore sell a product somewhere around £10 per square meter. So, but that's kind of the economics. In terms of the environmental kind of benefit and the social benefit, we're looking a bit deeper into that. But one rough number that we can share. So we've done some assessment on how our textile being not using any fluorine and also being fully recyclable at the end. So we are kind of like going away from any material which doesn't use any fluorine. So one thing that we've done is assume that all of those fluorine-based polymer are going to be replaced by something that has lighter footprint. And this is, for example, a really rough calculation of how the footprint changes by removing all of the PTFE material out of it. And the other thing is, yes, we've calculated the kind of footprint of waterproof textile carbon based on different sources. So there's LCA that Gore-Tex has released previously. And what we're doing right now is based on this, calculating how much recyclability and the removal of PTFE has impact on the overall carbon footprint. But one thing that we know is that we will need to go to a third party in order to assess even more deeply the impact that we can bring from an environmental point of view. In terms of the social impact that we can have, that's something that we need to look a bit deeper in, because we're still using existing kind of manufacturing methods. So it's not like we have a direct social impact, but one thing that could be included is that we won't be using any harmful PFC or PTFE type of material during manufacturing. So that's an advantage for factory workers. And also very often what happens is that at the end of life, all of those performance textiles are actually sent to landfill, not in the developed country, but in developing country, which where like all of those textile parts are burned, and that's where like a lot of the harmful toxic gases are produced. So if you're able to remove those harmful chemicals from textile, then you would, I mean, if you make something that's recyclable, first of all, that won't happen. Plus the toxicity of the gas when those kind of like different harmful material burns would be relieved. So we think there could be potential social impact on that point, but that's something that we need to look deeper and quantify. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the product of our project maybe 10 or 20% higher than equals, but we have low maintenance cost and more lifespan and anti-acid and UV and bacterial. I think we need to calculate all of extension function about this product. Maybe is the cost it can be afford, and according to the social benefit, I think our product can decrease more than 80% of carbon emission calculated by our teams. So I think this is how we measure this kind of products, economies and the social benefit of that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think for your product, since you're using materials that usually would go to incineration, and incineration would give a CO2 emission, there would be a lot of prevented societal costs. So in that sense, it would be very helpful to get a transparent, true value business case, because there's a lot of profit to gain. Of course, you still need to be sure that there is no hazardous leakage to water, but that's a different aspect. But I think a true value business cases would be very interesting for your project. I mean, if we look to Europe, then we are already calculating with CO2 emission pricing of €100 per ton of CO2 emission. And that can really turn a business case from a product that normally might have been too expensive into a kind of affordable one and a better one. And people are starting to look into this and get positive about it.
Yes, good point.
How about Pao? Do you have any reply to this?
Yes, the benefit of green load, I have the two dimensions. First is direct benefit. I mean money. Is I think it's a zero. We don't have benefit for build the load from plastic bags. Why? Because process we have more process to separate the plastic, correct the plastic, and build the load. You know, very easy when you buy the new plastic to put into the load, low cost, and you know you use the power to do is very low, Okay, I think it's zero. Direct benefit is zero for me, but indirect benefit, yes, you can reduce the plastic waste in your country, and you make the people have the quality life. And some group come to me from Europe, from America, come to Green Road for buy carbon credit from Green Road and to sell carbon credit. Yes, it's a direct. Indirect benefit is a good.
Okay, then I have a question for Yoon. And you mentioned that the textile is recyclable. And I was wondering if you maybe had even thought about starting with a partly recycled fabric from the start. And secondly, what do you do also to assure that the fabric is actually recycled end of life?
That's like, those two are really, really good points. So first of all, we foresee a future where we can use the recycled material as original feedstock for making the different component of a garment. Currently, the type of recycling technology that needs to be implemented to be able to do that are still kind of in being implemented. So it won't happen right now, but because of the type of the material that we're using, it's really likely that that will be implemented in the next kind of 2-3 years time. So if that happens, that's one thing that we will be able to do. The second thing is, I think, well, it's slightly connected to a question, but we, in terms of the feedstock that we use to make our textile, but also membrane, we are doing some experiment on using bio-based feedstock. And as of now, we're seeing really good potential on that part. So that's kind of the two things that we are going to do in order to decrease the carbon footprint from the very beginning. The second question, which is about how do we ensure that we have, you know, the textile being, I mean, the garment being recycled at the very end of life, is something that we need to actually work with the outdoor brands or sportswear brand that we are going to supply the textile to, because we currently are reliant on their garment collection system. So that would be something that we need to do a bit more trials and to, because there's a lot of things involved here. So you do have the infrastructure, I mean, the, yes, infrastructure requirement in each of those different kind of location where the garment is being used. On the other side, the logistic for the brand that we work with in collecting the garment is quite essential. And also we need to understand end user behavior and what would help them send the garment back once it's used. So although there's already different thing implemented, we see that that's another kind of part of work that we will need to implement as a kind of test project. Yeah, just to check, you know, where the bottleneck may be in collecting and recycling the actual textile.
Okay, and did you think about maybe doing kind of, instead of selling the product, you could also, of course, lease them or give them in use to people? Is that something that you thought about?
Yeah, so I mean, we obviously are more on the side of selling the textile to the brands which make the final product. But interestingly, on the brand side, what is happening is there's a few companies like I just forgot the name of the company. It's a shoe company, a sportswear shoe company. And what they're doing is, instead of selling the shoes, they are making a subscription for those shoes. So the end user have to send back the shoe after they've finished kind of like using it. So if you combine that type of business model with us, for example, providing the textile to those sportswear or outdoor brand, then there's already in the business model of the sports and outdoor wear brand side, a system that allows collection within the business model. So that's the kind of combination that we're thinking. Leasing the textile itself, that's actually a really radical thought. We haven't really thought about it, but it's actually something that may be worth investigating. So what if like we just we just make a subscription of the textile and people have to, you know, send the textile back, even if it's in the form of a garment at the very end.
Yeah, of course, because of course it is part of the extended producer responsibility. And since you're based in London, you're quite close to the European, although you're no longer Europe, but it's quite close to the European rules about the extended producer responsibility. But that's interesting. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anna, and thank you so much, Anita, for your questions and feedback. I'd like now to kind of organically shift to the next part of our panel, which is going to be the crosstalk led by Junya Iida. Junya, are you here with us?
Yeah, thank you, Kelsie. So now we are going to have a crosstalk session, and I have some questions for all of you. And first of all, I'd like to ask a question about what are the strongest influences which are pushing circular materials to become the norm rather than the exception? What are the roadblocks, obstacles keeping circular materials from becoming the norm? So I'd like to ask, first of all, Anna, what do you think?
Okay, yes. I can talk a bit about what is happening in Latin America in this sense. I think that the strongest influence are the society. I think that here is changing the way of consuming, and the people is asking for other way of production. And I think that the circular economy is present in the majority of the micro enterprises area. For example, the government haven't any policies that helps to the company that contribute to make easier the way of producing this kind of product with the raw material. In all these areas, we have the problem that recycle is very expensive comparing with generating the buying the new material. So it's very complicated processes, and the society is the one who is asking for another way of thinking design.
Thank you. So, Dr. Pao, how about in your country, in Thailand?
Yes. We're talking about the sakura material in my country, in Green Road.
Yeah, what are the obstacles keeping circular materials from becoming the norm in your country?
Yeah. It's the circular economy don't have the circular economy model. We start a circular economy model in maybe in 3 years ago, but now you use only this the material, but original material from nature, like me, you know. But nobody concerned with second life of resource, second life of material is so is the material in I use no circular economy in Thailand. It's real one. The circular economy in Thailand, like a little bit policy from a government, not the real one. I think. Okay.
So June and Anita, you are living in Europe, so I think it's very difficult situation from Thailand or any other Asian country. So Europe is more proceed, I think. So what do you think in London, June?
Yes. So yes, I feel like the thing is, it's probably the case in UK, but also in Europe as a whole. There's a really strong push on sustainable innovation and also sustainable material innovation here, and especially a focus among that in circular solutions. So therefore, we're quite unique in a sense that we're focusing on outdoor wear and sportswear, but there are a lot of companies around us who are doing a similar kind of challenge in different field, and also as a result, also on the bigger industry side of things, the bigger players are also interested in circular solutions. So therefore, we're seeing that, you know, there's a huge big wave that is navigating us toward going for circular material. So yeah, it's not like I feel us being just unique, but it's good to be part of this great movement on finding solution to a global challenge. That's at least what I feel like, being surrounded with like-minded people in the UK and EU.
So how about in Netherlands?
I agree to what Junya is saying, and in addition to this, what we see in the Netherlands is that the whole COVID pandemic made it kind of pushes the circular movement, since of course if you want to have materials stay in loops actually become circular, then there is of course the post-consumer materials will be in the Netherlands. So there is a kind of additional focus to more local, more regional processing and production, and not shipping the materials back to Asia where we normally would produce. I mean, in COVID pandemic, people realized again that products are not being made here. not being here in the Netherlands or not being made here in Western Europe, but they're coming from Asia. And there was a problem with that. So now there's a new kind of rethinking to, oh, we need to create, actually, we need to actually start creating the circular transition and to build materials closer back to home and in a better way. So that's very interesting.
Thank you. So how about Wang in Taiwan?
Okay. In my opinion, the enterprise in Taiwan, they will use circular material because the brand requests, such like Nike or Apple, and they will use this kind of material because the government policy, because Taiwan have a goal in 2030, the product need to increase, including some percentage of recycling material or circular material. And the third influence maybe the consumer need. But we also have roadblock to this island because the price normally higher than a virgin material because it's difficult to have the common. The second is the quantity is so few because in our opinion, many countries focus on the ocean plastic. So our enterprise also want to use this kind of waste or material, but the quantity in Taiwan is so few. So they can get the quantity they need. So I think this is two roadblocks in Taiwan.
Thank you. And I have another question, which is about in what ways has a nature-centered design influenced your work in circular materials? So what do you think, Jun?
Yes, so before actually doing this company, I used to be a researcher in material science in Japan at universities, and one of the specialty of my research was bio-inspired material innovation. So I looked in many plants and many animals, and then the topic of the research was learning how they keep themselves dry, or how they keep themselves clean in different various environments. And then I was developing different coating technology, learning from that. And although it's not a direct translation, there's a lot of the knowledge that I gained from that time that translated into the actual product that we're making, especially Amphitex. So that would be like the direct link. But the other thing is we've been looking also at nature as a whole, as a system, and just seeing how we could just cleverly design something that is easier to morph into another product, and then to be then recycled, and then to become textile again, and then vice versa. So both on a really technical perspective, but also from a systemic perspective, we've been looking at nature as inspiration.
Thank you. So Anna, how about in your bioelectronic project?
Well, I can think nature without us. So I think that all the circular materials are inspired in nature in some way. And in my point of view and in my work, I work a lot with the context and with territories and with its materialities. I work a lot with different agents of nature, with mushrooms, for example, with bacteria. And for me, we work together in order to make possible this kind of material through its action and through the respect and ethic working together. For me, the material are a conjunction between all these Asians, and it's a sum of agencies that work together to be able to make this material that had to be in balance with our context.
Thank you. So, Anita, how about in your fabric and textile field?
We believe that textiles should be a positive enabler for a better world. And in that sense, of course, we have a focus on cotton because we all love cotton, but we also know that cotton takes a lot of water. And then, so from the start, we have been looking at how can we recycle cotton in a way that it becomes a solution for the waste, but it also needs to give a cotton that does not create microplastics. So in that sense, there's always a combination of we want to have a product that does not use the huge amount of water that an organic cotton, for instance, takes, but we also want to have it in a fabric that is durable and can have the normal usage in the normal time of usage. So it really is, it needs really to have a systemic perspective. Of course, we want to make sure that textiles don't waste our planet, and we all want to have nature left. Yeah.
Thank you. So, Dr. Pao, how about you?
Okay. In Green Road's work, background of me is I'm a civil engineer and architecture. It's very different. Architecture is love tree, love nature. We design everything is compact with nature. But engineer, when we make the road like a green road, very easy. When you saw the nature, when you saw the tree and you cut it and make the road go straight on, very easy, and your work is very easy. But in now it's green road is I found is green road idea is the nature is come first. If you saw in my picture in this page, green road page, we have the big tree and the road is go through the way. We don't cut tree. Green road and nature must come together. Not effect in my work. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So how about Wang?
Because I am an environmental engineer, so we do a lot of research on this environmental subject. During the 15 years, the human population have doubled, but we use triple of the material as before. I think, in my opinion, we need to build a better world for all species. I think that's why I do this.
Thank you. So we are beginning to run out of time, so this will be the final question. And I'd like to ask, especially winners, about what is the next major goal or benchmark which you look forward to in your project or current work? So the first of all, how about Jun?
Yes, so we are doing currently more trial on the actual recycling part of it. So there's different way that our textile can be recycled. So mechanical recycle, but also chemically recycled. So we're doing more tests so that we do have more ground on the claim that is recyclable, but also we can just plan ahead on how we can implement the recycling on a bigger scale once our textile is produced in larger volume. And the other thing is, yes, we've been kind of continuously improving the property of the different component of the garment. So we're pushing that really hard so that we can have something that has all of the sustainable benefit, but at the same time, equally good from a performance point of view. So it will be good in terms of milestone to prove with the garment made that, ours performs just as well as the top performance textile that is being used currently.
Thank you. So, Dr. Pao, how about you?
Okay, in my product now is a goal and objective of green load. I have one objective of green load. Okay, to clean and to reduce and to reuse the plastic in my country or in the world, to transform plastic bag have the value, not the load, not for the beast, but have the value. Just one objective of my work. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Wang, do you have any idea?
In my opinion, our teams, we have a slogan before. It's called relieve everything. So we just want to find a way to use all kind of waste and make benefit of that. So REstone is one of our projects. We have used different kind of material to create new product or decrease the resource using in the enterprise or people. So we will keep going on this goal and try our best.
Thank you. And we have a few minutes left, so I'd like to ask our two judges. And how about, so first, Anna?
Well, we are going on with the project that I told you with the link with communities. We aren't an economical project, so we look for funds constantly in order to expand our technologies. And we are a university who has a very important link with others, so we are trying to go on expanding these materials, and as they are open licenses, we want to expand a bit more and teaching how to make them in order to open new possibilities to reproduce them and to apply to different uses. We are in this instance to make bigger the expansion.
So how about Anita?
Looking to ReBlend, I mean, we started as a foundation doing projects, and now we're going to make the step to actually become a provider of circular textiles and actually a company. And we're going to do this with collaboration with a wholesaler. So that's a big step for us. And looking to the project, I'm really looking forward to do the 2 years of research project with the Amsterdam hospital and caretaker centers to start with 2,500 protective garments from cotton with a water repellency finish. And to actually end of life, we're going to recycle them and see what we can make from them. We probably can't bring them back to the protective garment, but we'll make or t-shirts or jeans or towels from it to actually create a cotton closed loop in Amsterdam. So that will be really looking, and then we are going to kind of experiment with different types of ownership, because we want to keep track of the materials. So we actually are going to experiment with how that works and what the new complexities will be in getting back your materials.
Thank you. So thank you very much for a very interesting crosstalk discussion. So I go to hand over to Kelsie.
Great. Thank you so much. That was a very fruitful discussion. My hand got quite hot taking notes from all the things that you were all saying. One point in particular that stuck out to me from Dr. Pao was this idea of giving value back to plastic. And I think this is something that can kind of be shared among all of your projects, how to give value back to something which might be considered to have less value because it is trash or because it is a waste thing. And when I think about the history of plastic, I understand that when it was first invented, it was considered a quite revolutionary material. And probably people at that time never imagined that plastic was going to become so quote unquote valueless. At the same time, now we're making a full turn where we see this beautiful project of green road in schools and temples and other public spaces, giving a kind of social value that perhaps people at the time could not have imagined would have been possible. And something that I'm kind of being left here with today is this really beautiful sense of hope. I know whenever we talk about these issues related to climate change or related to, you know, how can circular economy help us save the world, it's so easy to fall into the trappings of, you know, all of these really wild or crazy numbers telling us, oh, the world, you know, the world is ending and you know, the ice caps are melting and biodiversity is decreasing. But today I was left with a sense of hope hearing from all of you, the works that you're doing, the vision that you have, and the different kind of collaborators that you're bringing in with you to reach the goals that you have. So thank you again so much for all of your presentations and comments today. With this, I'd like to begin to bring our discussion to a close. So I'm just going to share my screen one last time with you all. So thank you again so much to all of the judges and prize winners today. Congratulations again on winning the Circular Awards this year. Anybody who is listening in the audience, again, I warmly welcome you to please feel free to reach out to us anytime. If you have any questions or comments which you would like to relate to us, please feel free to scan the code and fill out the survey. Next up in the Circular Summit is going to be the panel entitled Creating Scalable Impact with the Circular Economy. This panel is going to be alongside judges Willemijn de Jong who is a landscape facilitator at Common Land. We also have Dr. Hsiang Intra Tu, who is an architect and associate professor at Stewart University and design principal of OSISU. We're also joined by Mohammed Muse Hassan, who is the director at the Institute of Innovation, Tech, and Entrepreneurship at SciMed University. Our crosstalk is going to be moderated by FabCafe Bangkok co-founder and circular judge, Kalaya Kvidvisith. Thank you again so much to everybody for joining me for this panel. And I look forward to seeing beautiful collaborative relationships be born among us and between us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.